Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion and welcome to another new season of Destiny, Season of the Witch. Now, of course, if you watched the showcase or seen any seasonal trailers, of course you know that it is Season of the Witch, and of course, based on last season, it means that we are reviving Savathûn. I won't get into more story details because some cool things turned out that I'm not going to spoil. You might have seen it from trailers, but at the same time, it's still cool to watch the first time. But I am going to break down a few things new to the season. So in this video, it's going to be some general rotations and new things to the year. Well, new things to the world, like our raid rotations, new things throughout the world, and some changes you might see in the tower. And then I will also have a few other videos that might be a little bit longer. It will be covering the new weapons and exotics of the season, as well as the cosmetics of the season. And of course, hopefully before too long, I'll also have the story of the season coming out. I've already recorded the intro, so if you want to see just the cinematics and dialogue of the intro, I will have that coming out soon. But regardless, it is time to get into the basics of everything. So, as you know, the season rotates, which means a few things just generally do shift, as every season does. If you go to all your playlist vendors, there will be, of course, a new ritual weapon there, which, if you look, it is actually an interesting one in the form of a Cassoid hand cannon. If you don't know what that means, this was made by the same people that made Ariana's Vow, in terms of Bungie things. But of course, new thing there, and of course that also means that there is new stuff in the store. There's new rotation and ritual weapons, and in terms of the Vanguard, there's a few new things here and there. And of course that means that every other playlist activity will have new things, stuff rotated in and out for trials. If you want to go to see that, when Saladin shows up, you can see what he's got there, as well as just the various gears between Crucible and Gambit. Of course, I'll get more into detail and everything else in that other video. But of course, going throughout the world, of course, the seasonal dropped. And for this time, there is a new area. They're using the Helm area down here. And of course, there is the few seasonal activities. One of them being Savathûn's Spire. So that's a new thing for Pinnacles. And of course, like that usually means the Pinnacles from last season have rotated out. So if there's anything seasonally that was Pinnacle that you wanted to work on, well, that's no longer a thing. That is now back to this season. So if you want Pinnacles out of the season, you got to go there. However, Ghost of the Deep is still a Pinnacle dungeon, but I will get to more of that in the future. So, one big thing is in the Legends tab this week, and that is the fact that Presage is currently here. This is the Exotic Mission Rotator. If you don't remember, this is basically an exotic mission that rewarded a unique exotic at the end of it for completion, which does have a normal and legendary difficulty, and does, of course, have one or two modifiers to it. And the rewards will be their respective weapons, including a variety of gear from Season 17. So if there's anything craftable that you wanted back from Season 17 and everything, basically this is a good way to earn some gear in case it wasn't dropping for you or you just had no access to it prior. In addition to that, they will rotate out a few different times. Deadman's Tale is also, of course, craftable. As Bungie has stated, anything that enters the rotation exotics will be craftable in the future. Now, speaking of rotations, in terms of the world, the rotations of the Pinnacle dungeons or Pinnacle raids have reset. It is Last Wish again, in case you want to do more Kali farming and didn't get any of the weapons done. But in terms of the rotation dungeon, currently I think it is Pit of Heresy? Nope, it actually seems to still be Duality. So I guess the rotation stayed exactly where it was as it was last week. So the rotation continues further from there. Now, in terms of the world, of course, because new season means new seasonal challenges, which in this case is Acolyte's Ascent 1, basically complete week 1 of the story for this season. Then Adept Arcana for completing major Arcana quests to collect your deck of Whispers. Basically, there's some individual bounties unique to the season. You'll see that more when you play. Witch's Spoils for opening chests in Savathûn's Spire or the Altars of Summoning. Earn bonus progress by opening chests with Witch's Keys. Then Master Courier, or Conjurer. Collect offerings which are used to summon combatants in the Altars of Summoning. Complete Altars of Summoning encounters higher difficulty encounters grant bonus progress. And then, of course, there is the variety things for completing weekly playlist challenges. If you don't know what that is, just to run it through, if you visit the Strike playlist, which is an easy thing, this is basically weekly challenges, anything that has these little symbols right here. So basically, in this case, it's completing 3 of the ritual activities, any of the variety, and in terms of the Nightfalls, completing points and the variety. Then, going forward with a few more specific ones, we have Round We Go, which is generating Orbs of Power in any of the playlist activities. And then also Precision Calibration for calibrating marksman weapons with Scout Rifles, Sniper Rifles, and Linear Fusion Rifles by landing Precision Final Blows, bonus progress against Guardians. And of course, we'll have 9 more weeks of seasonal challenges. These are really good sources of experience, as well as Bright Dust in case you just need to level up or want to progress the Battle Pass. Speaking of Battle Pass, of course, there is always a new Battle Pass, and of course, new weapons and associated things. with the seasonal tier and the free tier, and of course a variety of deep side harmonizers. So if you wanted more deep side harmonizers or needed to get access to a few things that just refuse to drop red border, there are now some more harmonizers available for you at any time you need them. Then, as well, just going throughout the world. Now, you might see, of course, Neptune. There is a change, and that is Root of Nightmares is no longer a Pinnacle thing. It won't be a part of the Pinnacle set. It won't be a Pinnacle weekly, but it will be a part of the rotation. So eventually, Conditional Finality will be infinitely farmable. Any of the gear in these raids can be infinitely farmed for once it comes around to the week. If you don't know why, that is because Bungie has officially announced the next raid. I won't say what it is if you don't know, but when that raid drops next week, basically that becomes the new Pinnacle one, where you'll have Pinnacles that you can earn on 3 different characters throughout the runs. And Root of Nightmares will be put into rotation and will be infinitely farmable once the weeks align. Then, in terms of everything else seasonally, it's pretty much the average day in Destiny, aside from that. Now, there is a few more details in the tower, of course. There is, like I said, seasonal refreshes. I imagine the ADA bounties for cosmetics, those have refreshed. You can earn some more transmog consumables if you need them. But one thing that's also adjusted is the special deliveries terminal. So you know how when Amanda Holiday was killed and Twitch drops started going to Rahul? Well, now they no longer go to the Rahul, and basically anything that's like unique and a out-of-game reward that came in-game, like you bought something and you got an emblem for it, this is where it will show up, hopefully, in the variety. Now, personally, I had the Aichi Stride here, which I think is a final ship pre-order, which, fun fact, I haven't pre-ordered just yet. But at the same time, there was a bunch of variety of Ascendant Alloys, Ascendant Shards, some upgrade modules, basically a jump start on crafting in case you need it. And of course, per the usual with the season, there is new gear to craft, there is going to be new exotics, hopefully new exotic armor. I haven't seen anything just yet, but like I said, I will be covering that in a different video entirely. And that is pretty much everything new. Now, I also know that the Monte Carlo thing is here, which there is a new mission, which I think is sort of new light, which I will get into that hopefully sometime in the future. But the reward will probably be Monte Carlo, and then on a next step, it will also be the Monte Carlo ornament. So keep an eye out for that in case that is what you are something you want to go for. But to that note as well, they're apparently keeping the seasonal tab looking like Season of the Deep. And they kind of expanded the menu a little bit more simply. Basically, you have the All tab, and then you also have the front page, which is basically the, this is the season. This is the main stuff. And everything Legacy elsewhere. But on that note, that is pretty much the broad spectrum for reset stuff. I'll go into more detail as the season goes out. But of course, most people in the seasonal reset, they like to go and find some stuff out themselves. That, my name is Matt Scorpion, and stay tuned to the next video, which will be covering the weapons and exotics of the season.